Good evening, everyone. My name is Joan Rivas Cosby. I currently serve as chair of the District 3 Community Leadership Council. Today, we are presenting a recorded version of our presentation from Jason Minsky of Christmas in the Park, only because by coincidence, his board meetings happen every month at the same time ours do. So he's been kind enough to join us virtually.
Thank you, Joan. And then we're going to have the rest of the board introduce themselves who are able to join us tonight. We have Judy, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi there, I'm Judy Zamora, and I'm vice chair of the D3 CLC.
And Sonia.
Hi, my name is Sonia Liu, and I'm actually the member at large for the D3 CLC.
And we also have Antonina, who couldn't be here with us, but she's also part of the board, the treasurer. And I am Elizabeth Figueroa here as part of the D3 CLC, also as secretary and also on behalf of Communiversity. Today, as Joan mentioned, we are joined by Jason Minsky, who is the executive director of Christmas in the Park all the way since 2012. And he has been a part of San Jose's cultural and entertainment experience since 1993 when he worked for the San Jose Sharks. So if you have a picture of yourself with SJ Sharky somewhere between the early 90s and late 90s, there's a chance he may be somewhere in that picture. You just have to look extra hard, and maybe having some x-ray vision will help. And so without further ado, we introduce you to Jason Minsky, the executive director, and who will be sharing his screen to take us through what Christmas in the Park will look like in 2020 during a pandemic. And I'm sure it'll still be great.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate the time today and happy to be here. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys, start a slideshow. But I'll start as you're firing that up. Obviously, with COVID happening very early on this year, we started to look at different ways that our event could possibly be affected or possibly move forward. And in order for us to do so, back in March, we actually started a few different options and kind of, as time progressed, settled in on where we're at right now. But knowing that we probably weren't going to be able to have a ton of people assemble for our traditional Christmas in the Park event, knowing that there might be some attendance restrictions, we started looking at alternate venues. Every year we do a fundraiser in July called Christmas in July, and it's held at History Park. And it's a really fun event. If you've never been, I encourage you to attend. But that was the reason why we looked at History Park as a possible venue, because it is a fenced-in area. It would allow us to definitely control the attendance that we would have for our traditional event. As time progressed, we knew that the traditional event was not going to happen and that we needed a different solution. Working as a nonprofit, as a lot of nonprofits go, fundraising and money is always an issue. And for us, we had to have an event this year of some way, shape, or form, or else we risk actually, closing the doors on Christmas in the Park forever, not just this year. So we did some research and settled in on a drive-through. We looked at a few different venues for a drive-through, but again, kind of came back to History Park. And their executive director, Bill, was on board from the very get-go. He had actually been in touch with us earlier in the year, late last year, in fact, about possibly helping him with an event that he was thinking about doing this Christmas. So it was kind of a perfect scenario for us to work with Bill and his staff to move our event from Plaza de Cesar Chavez Park downtown over to History Park. If you don't know where History Park is, it's inside Kelly Park, which is where the Japanese Friendship Garden is, and Happy Hollow Park and Zoo. If you don't know where that is, it's across from where the San Jose Giants Municipal Stadium is. So that's where we're going to be this year. We are going to be a drive-through event. Go ahead and go to the next slide. History Park, it's one of those best kept secrets in our opinion in San Jose. It really is an amazing venue. There's over 32 different original and reproduction buildings, everything from the original fire station to a hotel, ice cream shop, an old-fashioned gas station, an actual stables that's called Dashaway Stables. And it's a paved area, it's a paved park that really kind of sets itself up perfectly for our event this year. Go ahead and go to the next slide. This kind of gives you an overview of the map of our event this year. This is History Park, and you'll see where the little icon is that says History Park or History San Jose entrance. That is the main entrance to the park, but you can also see that to the right of that, there is a community that lives on what is Phelan Avenue. And so they rely on the in and out of Phelan, and if we were to just have our event start at the entrance to History San Jose, it would cause quite a traffic jam, not only on Phelan, but on Center Road as well. So the key for us was to have access to use what's called parking lot K4, which is the large parking lot to the right of this map. And that allows us to take the traffic off of the streets and actually start the lineup for our event in the parking lot. So cars will drive straight through onto on Phelan into the parking lot, where they will weave in and around the parking lot itself as they prepare to go through our event, which starts toward the end of the parking lot. People weave their way around the parking lot. We have different themed areas down in that way, our Caribbean Christmas, our Candy Cane Lane. When you come out of the parking lot, which is currently a bus lane, you'll see a highlighted orange area. That is going to be a 325-foot lighted tunnel. We're actually calling it our Essential Workers Tunnel as a salute and tribute to those people that have kept us going during the pandemic. So cars will go underneath the tunnel, they'll come back onto Phelan Road, they'll drive up to the entrance to History Park, and they'll take a right turn where you can see the tiny Lima train display, and then they'll weave their way in and around History Park. If you've never been inside the park, there's actually a 125-foot electric light tower replica from the original light tower that stood at the corner of Market and Santa Clara Street in the late 1800s and the early 1900s. Cars will actually get to drive underneath the light tower, which we think is pretty cool. They'll weave their way around where you see the words disco wall. That is actually going to be two large 12-foot high by 96-foot long pixel lighted walls. And cars will actually drive through that pixel wall area as they're making their journey around the park. Another thing that's really neat about the event this year is that people can listen to a pre-recorded soundtrack on their FM radio, and it will be synced to all of the lights in the park. So everything that we were talking about, the Candy Cane Lane or the tunnel or the pixel walls, everything, all the lights will be choreographed and will dance around to the music that you're listening to in your soundtrack. So really kind of a neat feature as people are driving around. The big square, which is the next thing that you'll hit in the park, is what we call our pixel forest. And this allows movement within lights to make it look like an American flag is waving or that Santa and his reindeer are flying. Again, all choreographed to wherever you're at in that soundtrack as you make your way around the park. And then you exit the park where the Viet Museum is into another parking lot, which is parking lot K2. And that allows you to go straight onto Center Road through that parking lot. So it was really key for us to work with the different departments within City Hall, especially Parks and History Park, to make sure that we were able to put on a safe event that wouldn't impact the surrounding community too much and allow us to put on a successful event. This year, we do have to charge for the first time in 40 years for people to come to our event. It's not something that we wanted to do, but it's something that we definitely had to do. As I mentioned earlier, as a nonprofit, you rely on sponsorships and donations and fundraisers, of which we're kind of bleeding revenue at this point. Sponsorships are less than 50% of what they were projected to be. We can't have any vendors at this year's event, so unfortunately we can't have Snowman hot chocolate, and we can't have churros or our wandering waffle vendor or anything else that required having a vendor there. Vendors for us, our food vendors, our novelty vendors, and some of our sponsor vendors totaled about $225,000 in vendor revenue for our organization. That is 100% wiped out this year. So it's very unfortunate for us that things like this are happening, but I will tell you, this event is going to be way more than what people are expecting. If you're just expecting a drive-through version of Christmas in the Park, you are going to be pleasantly surprised. You're still going to see all of our animated displays, the traditional displays that have been around for years. You're still going to see hundreds of decorated trees by community groups, other nonprofits, and local businesses. but you're going to see it in a setting that History Park provides. One of the things that we've actually already done in September is we've already put Christmas lights on all of the 32 buildings that are at History Park. The park itself and all their volunteers are working on putting additional decorations on the houses with Christmas wreaths and some signs and banners welcoming everybody to the park. They understand that this is a chance for them to reach an audience that has never seen the glorious venue that History Park has to offer. Take that plus what we normally have, plus we are investing some of the dollars that we're making through ticket sales into what I kind of talked about before, the lighted tunnel, the pixel walls, the pixel forest, lighted archways, singing characters. It's probably going to be our biggest expansion since Christmas in the Park first moved into Plaza de Cesar Chavez back in 1980. So we're really looking forward to this event. I think people are going to have an amazing time. I think people are going to come out of that parking lot back onto Center Road, and you're going to have people saying, I want to go again because I know I missed something, because it's just going to be filled with holiday decorations, filled with lighted features that people have never seen before. Some of the things that we're debuting, that Pixel Forest, this is the first year that a Pixel Forest has ever even been at any drive-thru in the country. So we're really looking forward to our event and showcasing what we can do at Christmas in the Park, keeping the tradition of our event, but also taking it kind of into the next generation. So that's kind of the layout of the event and how that will work. But let's go to the next slide and we'll show you some pictures. This is a list of all the new things that we're having. A Tinker Toy entry arch, 6 snowflake arches, leaping reindeer arches, animal singing characters, singing pixel-lighted characters from Caribbean themed, the pixel walls, the light tunnel, the pixel forest, some large mega trees. These are 20-foot lighted trees, 500 feet of stringer lights, and over to the right, you'll see a picture of what we call our spirit meter. As cars drive by this spirit meter, it's motion activated. It'll tell you how much Christmas spirit is actually in your car, and it'll light up. So we're really looking forward to all the new things that we described. Go ahead and go on to the next slide. What is pixel lighting? In case you don't know, those are pixel lights on the left in the picture, and to the right are a few of the singing characters that you're going to see at Christmas in the Park. So pixel lights are small lights that are just very programmable to show off millions of different colors, all choreographed to music. Go ahead and go to the next slide. There's some renderings of what our snowflake arches are going to look like, what our lighted tunnel is going to look like. Next slide. And then here we start some slides that kind of show you what History Park looks like now, and then some renderings of what it's going to look like all decorated for the holidays. So you can just kind of scroll through these next 5 slides so people can get an idea. The smaller picture on the left, and then once we put Christmas lights and decorated things on the right-hand side. That's the fire. This next one is perfect. We love it. It's already called Dashaway Stables. So we're going to put some reindeer in the windows and put Christmas lights on it, put a sleigh out front. It's going to be a lot of fun. Go ahead. Of course, the Southern Pacific Line's train is going to be there. That's going to be a really neat thing. It's funny that you can kind of make it out. The third car, or the second car after the coal car, is an old Orchard Supply Hardware car, which that they're not around anymore. But History Park, I think in time for our event, is going to have one of the original Orchard Supply Hardware lighted signs out in front of that car. The other thing that's kind of interesting is you might have seen that a new outdoor supply hardware, still using the OSH in their logo, has moved into San Jose. They have a couple locations. That they've actually reached out to us, and we've got a new relationship with them this year, and they are the place where we got all of our Christmas trees, and they were able to give them to us at an extreme discount than what we're normally paying, kind of back to when Orchard Supply actually supplied our Christmas trees for us. Go ahead. Just a couple more renderings. That little gazebo right there off to the left in this picture, Santa Claus will be there. So as cars are driving around, Santa visits this year, unfortunately, are going to be really odd for many different reasons. So we're going to have Santa at our event. He'll just be waving to cars as they're going by, but he'll be in that gazebo you can see off to your left. We're expecting about 50,000 cars to go through our event this year. We'll be open from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. daily. The ticket price for admission between 4 and 5 is just $10 per car. Between 5 and 10 p.m. is just $20 per car. We also received a grant from Google where we're giving out an additional 500 free tickets to people that maybe can't afford to come to the event. So we're working with Catholic Charities and Somos Mayfair to reach the families that they normally deal with to give out some free tickets. We're also giving 1,000 tickets to the different council districts, 100 tickets per district for them to distribute to people that need them as well. And then the last thing that we're doing to make sure that people can attend is we've had really good success with this. In fact, about 10% of people that are buying tickets right now on our website are opting in for what we call buy one, give one. So it's an option where you can buy a ticket for your family and then donate a ticket to another family. So we'll also be working again with Catholic Charities and Somos Mayfair to make sure that the families receive those tickets that have been donated by people who have already bought tickets. And that's kind of the slideshow. We're really looking forward, like I said, to put on our event. Our warehouse right now is pixel crazy with getting everything ready and refurbishing our displays and making sure that we're prepared to start moving into the park. That'll actually happen by the time you see this meeting. We'll almost actually already be pretty much 95% set up by mid to late November for a day after Thanksgiving, November 27th opening. And we'll be open through January 3rd. So we're really looking forward to bringing our event again to the community. We think that people are going to be pleasantly surprised when they come to our event this year. We've been working with local police and parks and Department of Transportation to make sure that it's safe for everybody, that it doesn't impact the community, and that people just have a really good time and have a chance to go do something. Although things are starting to open up, we know that events are not one of them. So the fact that we can still do a version of our event for our community is really important. And this will also, make it, valid for us to be able to move forward for 2021, where we hope to return to Plaza de Caesar Chavez Park for our normal event.
Thank you so much. Wow, what a great presentation. I'm going to stop the share now so we can answer some of the questions that I saw popping up in the chat and probably people have questions at home too. Some of the questions that I see are for accessing sound on the radio to sync with their drive. You said it was an FM radio, right? So it'll be on a loop?
It'll be on a loop. It'll be an FM frequency channel that when you drive up, you'll see what channel to turn to. And it's just, turning your dial to the right frequency, and then it'll play on your radio inside your car.
That's great. And then for keeping cars moving along so they don't sit in one place for too long, how is that all going to work?
Volunteers and traffic control, police officers and staff. We have a couple golf carts that will be going around, making sure that people don't stop. Nobody will be able to get out of their cars for pictures or anything along those lines. So if you've ever been to Vasona, it's kind of, you want to keep the traffic flowing so cars don't, back up and cause more, traffic jams, in the community. And that's pretty much what we're going to be doing too. For us, again, that key is having that big giant parking lot at the end of Phelan really makes it possible for us to have our event and not cause the traffic jam that you see, at other drive-thrus around. Right.
And then bathrooms. How long do you anticipate the whole thing going around the route to be? Like, will it be long enough for people to need to use a bathroom, or will there be bathrooms available?
There are not bathrooms available, so hopefully people go ahead of time. The anticipated time around the park, based on your speed, is approximately 15 minutes to get through the entire park. It's a little over 1.5 miles of roadway for us, and that's what we estimate, going about 2.5 to 5 miles per hour.
Thank you. And then when you mentioned the over $200,000 lost because of the vendors, that was all of it, right? 100% you mentioned was the loss this year.
Well, that that was one element of what we lost. So to give you an idea, the big things that we lost were the vendor fees, sponsorships. Like I mentioned before, they're down about 50%. That 50% of sponsorship fees are roughly $175,000 that we're down. There's no carnival rides inside our park this year, obviously. So that's another about $75,000. Our own concession sales we can't have. Santa pictures we can't have. So we're down, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow, that's a lot. Hopefully we'll make it up this year with the cars and all the firsts that we're gonna have. So I'm gonna read this one directly. It's great to hear that Osh is still there for Christmas in the park. You mentioned a sign on the train. Is it the vintage one that once stood at the old Osh site and was momentarily missing?
From what I understand, yes, it is that sign. Now, I have not seen it. I cannot tell you 100%. I'm only getting my information from History Park that they're excited that they think they're going to have it up by the time our event starts. So I'm assuming, yes, it is that sign.
That's a rescue. It's good. It's great rescuing things. For anyone who lives alone, could there be an option that someone could purchase a video or a viewing of the drive-thru, so a virtual drive-thru maybe?
That is a great question, and it's something that we've explored. We haven't come to a final decision on it yet, so we don't know. We're also still talking to a pedicab company that might be available on certain nights. So if somebody were to take a bus down to that area, the pedicabs could pick them up at the bus stop and take them through the event, which is a kind of an amazing way to look at the event. So we're still talking to the pedicab company and VTA for transportation purposes. With Lyft and Uber and even regular taxi cabs, still not really sure how they're going to be operating by the time that this comes. We want to make it possible. We hope that people have neighbors that they could ride with. And that the community will kind of step up and help a neighbor and bring them to our event.
Mm-hmm. And then is VTA currently playing any kind of a partner role at the time?
VTA has always been involved with our event in helping to advertise to get people to come down to the event, take public transportation. Unfortunately, you can't walk through our event, so the relationship that we have with them this year is not as strong as it is in previous years, but of no fault other than coronavirus, because we can't encourage people to take public transportation down to an event that you need a car for.
Right. And in your experience, is this more difficult to plan than the actual normal year Christmas in the park?
It's got its ups and downs. It's actually been kind of exciting because we're planning so many new things. We've been doing we always get comments every year that it's the same thing year after year. Mm-hmm. And when we look at it, we don't think it, because we've added so many different things in the past 8 years, new displays and new features. And last year we had a Christmas tree maze that we added, and we've added a replica light tower display and all these other different fun and creative scavenger hunts and interactive stories. And so we always think that we're adding things. Again, wait till people come this year and see all the new stuff. It's going to be crazy. And everything that we're adding this year will translate to a walkthrough for next year as well. So picture everything that we have this year as a walkthrough next year. The spirit meter, the pixel walls, even the lighted tunnel is something that will translate downtown for hopefully when we return in 2021. Knock on wood somewhere, that is possible for us.
Yeah, and then I think a couple of us might have missed the dates that this is actually going to be running. So when does it start and when does it end?
So day after Thanksgiving, which is our traditional start date, November 27th through January 3rd, Sunday, January 3rd.
Excellent. I'm just excited that it's going to be a History Park, Christmas at the Park at History Park, because it's going to be kind of like a combination of stepping into a different era, right? And who doesn't want to be in another time and place right now?
Yeah. Again, I can't stress enough how magical History Park is. We actually, I mentioned earlier, our Christmas in July fundraiser, and it's always held at History Park, has been for the past 5 years. And this year we had to do a virtual fundraiser, but we were able to have a talent show that we actually filmed at History Park with some of our displays that we moved over. And so, the venue shines, the light tower, the buildings, it really is pretty magical for us. So, kind of getting back to your original question, is it harder? In some ways it is, but because we're doing so many new things, with all those pixel lights that you saw in that, what a pixel light is, we actually have to push them through little holes in the snowflakes or through strips of plastic for the light tunnel. And that is, I've got blisters and scabs on my fingers, and I'm not even doing it all the time. I have, people that are doing it every day. I can't imagine, the gloves that they've got to wear and everything. So it's, it's exciting for us. It's also right across the street from where our warehouse is. So we're literally across the street from History Park. So instead of having to drive 3 miles with our displays, we're literally just driving across the street. So that's one way where it's easier. Usually we have to set up 6 miles of the white picket fence around our event. We don't have to do that this year because people aren't walking. So there's good and bad. Tree decorating is challenging this year. We're actually expanding the number of days that people can come out and decorate trees so that you're not decorating a tree with a group that's right next to you. Keeping in mind social distancing and such, we're going to be assigning people the days that they can come out, and it'll be every 4th tree so that you're not coming on a day where a tree right next to you is being decorated.
Right, that's a great planning. And I think you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but do you anticipate that you'll be back at Cesar Chavez in 2021?
That is currently our plan.
Fingers crossed. So for the tickets that are bought, are they like for certain nights? Are they transferable for other nights if someone can't attend on the night they bought the tickets for?
Definitely not transferable. The tickets are only good for the night and the time that you purchase them. So we're selling them in 15-minute blocks. Mm-hmm. So you can attend between 6 and 6:15, and you actually have a window on either side of that to show up where your ticket will still be valid. So we know that people get stuck in traffic or something came up. So, we're going to be very flexible with the times that people, when they come, but definitely not on different days. As an example, right now, I think it's, most of our Saturdays right now are getting to the almost sold out phase. Which is, it's good for us, but, if you want to come on a Saturday, there's certain days that are definitely more popular than others.
Right. When most people can make it, are probably going to be the busiest ones.
Sure.
And then just another little tidbit. It sounds magical, like Disneyland lights. So it sounds like the rest of the group is really excited about it. And I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway in case I'm wrong, which wouldn't be a surprise. But Vasona sometimes will have the first couple of nights, and it might be different this year, but the first couple of nights for walking. Is that going to be at all likely or possible or in the plans?
So I'm very familiar with the walk-through lights at Vasona. We're not planning to do that, again, because you can't control the crowds and you can't social distance, people. From what I understand, Vasona is not doing it either. They've been great to work with us. We're kind of all in, the same boat right now, trying to put on great things for our community. There was a time this year where there was going to be so many different Christmas festivals this year. The Earthquakes were going to do something at Avaya Stadium. Great America does their Winterfest every year. There was so much that was going to be going on this year. And now I think Vasona and what we're doing are kind of the last men standing here. So they've been great to work with. They understand, they're run by the county. So we worked with, Cindy Chavez and her crew to kind of, in the Parks Department to try and get, some feedback from them on how they operate. They've got a great event. They sell out every year. So, they have to turn people away. So hopefully those people that are turned away, they'll come to us, and hopefully people will do both. We want people to do both. It's going to be 2 different experiences. They do their lights, they have their static lights, and Santa shooting the basketball and all the different really cool things that you see at Vasona every year, and we have our own light stuff, and so we're really happy that they're able to do their event and that we're able to do our event and just put on something that the community can enjoy.
Yeah, I'm going to put yours more in the Hallmark category.
Okay.
San Jose Christmas in the Park, because it just has a more classic feel to it. So does anybody else have any questions? Well, a donation box is a suggestion here, like a giant mail slot, maybe to go to the North Pole.
Yeah, what's really tough is that, and I know it's only, well, November when you see this, but it's October when we're recording it. But as of right now, you can't even do that for health guidelines. Like right now, we can't even have a mailbox for kids to drop off letters to Santa.
Oh no.
I know, it's so weird. At one point, we were trying to think of ways to do Santa visits, but we can't. The county health regulations, you can't hand anything through a car window that's not from a brick and mortar structure. So you can do drive through at McDonald's or Starbucks, but an event can't hand something through a car window. They would have to stop, open up the trunk. You'd have to place it in there, like you see the Domino's pizza commercials, where they put the pizza in the back of somebody's hatchback. That's what we would have to do. And then, assuming that, kids are not going to be watching this all frequently, but, we have a lot of volunteers that help with our Santa program. And, Santa's kind of getting up there in the years, and we don't want to put Santa at risk. So, we've struck a deal with Santa that he'll be at our event, but we don't want to put him at risk, and we don't want to put anybody else at risk.
Right.
It's really important. Safety, that's one thing that we've learned over the years. And we kind of have, you brought Disney up a couple of times. We like to have kind of the Disney philosophy, and I've attended customer service Disney programs before. I'm a huge fan of their customer service. And every single person that you talk to, you think from somebody that goes there that show is the most important thing that they put on, that they want everybody to just be blown away. Safety is the number one thing that Disney takes into consideration when putting on their event. And we've tried our best to adopt that as our biggest thing. And, that's why very early on we were able to pivot to a drive-through, because we don't know what's going to happen. There was talk about a second wave. You're seeing numbers increase in different places, in different countries. I've got a cousin that's in Italy. They're back on lockdown. Spain just went back on lockdown. Whether it's a second wave or whether it's opening up, I don't know. So, this was the way for us to still put on our event for the community, keep it safe, and really give something so that people can look forward to.
That's
Well,
great.
speaking as someone who's a contemporary of Santa, may I just say that we appreciate your consideration.
As far as ticket sales, does any of the money that you're going to get from the ticket sales going to help towards this year for to add more stuff, or is it just going to go kind of like in the bank?
No, it's definitely helping to offset some of the expenses for the new things that we're adding.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, new things and lost revenue. We had a lot of conversations early on as far as do we just put our normal stuff out and have people just like a drive-through version of Christmas in the Park. And I kind of go back to what we ended up doing for Christmas in July. And this was when we were starting to plan Christmas in July as a virtual event. This was when everybody and their mother was doing a virtual event. And I said, we can't just be like everybody else. We can't just do a virtual fundraiser like everybody else is doing. And so our Christmas in July event, it was a 2-hour live broadcast on YouTube and Comcast channel 24, I think it was. We did an online auction. You were able to purchase Christmas in a box, which was a meal, a bottle of wine, our ornament, a lawn sign. We always kind of want to do more than what people expect for Christmas in the Park. And it's funny, you grow up with the event if you've grown up in San Jose, and a lot of people, they come up to us every year and they tell us stories about how they remember seeing Christmas in the Park in front of the mortuary and back in the 50s and 60s and City Hall in the 70s, or they remember taking their kids in the early 80s when it was first downtown. And people think that everybody's got a Christmas in the Park. And I've been with the organization for going on 10 years now, and I've done my research, and I can't find another Christmas event that has everything that we have. They might have trees, they might have displays, they might have visits with Santa, they might be free, they might have entertainment, but nobody has everything that we're offering. And now, you're getting all of that plus this, this light show that we're putting on, which is something that we've never done before. And, it's really amazing. And timing is everything sometimes. Back in March, we hired what we call an exhibit designer or an exhibit engineer. His name is J.R. Matos. And he does something called Matos Orchard Lights, which is on the east side of San Jose every year. And his light display is always, something that, neighborhood people walk to every year and drive through. He's actually going to be on ABC's The Great Christmas Light Fight this year because of the effort that he does. So for him to join our team before COVID hit and to have his specialty be pixel lights and lighted displays was kind of, amazing for us. So he's really kind of been able to lead the charge when it comes to a lot of the new things that we're doing. People are going to be blown away. I know it. I really know that they are.
Wow, another reason to join, a celebrity among the planners and the organizers of Christmas in the Park. Go ahead, Dawn.
Well, I was the one who had asked the question, Jason, about people living alone. And normally my grandchildren who live in Hollister would come up to San Jose and it would be something that we would share. I seriously doubt that they would be driving up here even for the drive-thru event. So when I had suggested a new revenue stream by videotaping a drive-thru of it, perhaps you could sweeten the pot by, instead of a 15-minute experience, charging $5 for a 30-minute experience. And then you could actually do a 360 around the trees as you go through. And, maybe Santa could give a greeting to those folks. I would certainly be willing to pay it. And I know you said it's under consideration, but just ask your board to consider the fact that some people don't feel comfortable leaving their homes, even if they're in the little cocoon of their own cars.
No, and I'm actually really for it. We want people to enjoy the event. I think there's, a lot of people want to see how ticket sales go first. But I'm, a big fan, like I said, of Disney. And one of the things that I enjoy doing right now are what they call 360 virtual rides of Disneyland attractions, where you are able to stream YouTube onto your television, and it's like you're sitting in the front car going through the Haunted Mansion or through the Thunder Mountain Railroad or Pirates of the Caribbean. So I understand exactly what you're saying, and I love the idea. By no means is it off the table. It's absolutely something that's still on the table, and then we'll keep exploring.
Well, able to virtually experience it, especially sync to, the sound. And I see Sonia suggesting maybe behind the scenes stuff too. That would be awesome, Sonia. So maybe intersperse some footage of the prep that went into it so that people don't think it just magically appeared overnight. And that gives credit to your volunteers as well, which is another win-win, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're going to actually, when you're talking about behind the scenes, you're going to actually see some videos coming out on social media and via our Facebook page or our YouTube page in the coming, month and a half of what we call building the park. So we're going to be doing these little short episodes of JR and our operations manager, Chris Bradford, kind of walking people through, what it's like behind the scenes at our display shop and setting up the event. So we'll definitely have some footage that we could add into what you're talking about. And I love the idea of making it a longer experience, doing interviews and talking about how it was set up. And so great ideas.
All right. Okay. Oh, and we're sharing the Facebook page for Christmas in the Park. It's facebook.com/CITPSJ, and obviously we'll paste that where it's accessible to everybody to just click on. Any other questions, comments for Jason?
No other questions for me. Judy, did you have something?
No, but thank you so much. I'm very excited. I can't wait to go.
Good. I'm glad. I hope that everybody feels that way because it's going to be something special, I think.